So we have this is where the iPad goes, but after that, we also have the lifting angle. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and today I want to talk about our drawing setups and my dream drawing setup and the way people are wrong about their dream setup. Let's talk about drawing setups. And this video's sponsor is a new tutorial on Yiihuu.com. It's called Level Up Your Digital Painting Skills, Beginner to Advanced, and its author is an extremely talented and highly professional artist known as Fishman. I think his art style and skill level speaks for itself. He's got over 8 years of experience in the industry, including game design, comic books, and game cards and illustrations. Now, this tutorial is a huge one. I actually learned a lot and actually changed some of my perspectives on working with textures. You guys know I mostly use textures just as canvas textures. Well, in this tutorial, you'll learn how to use textures for actual textures of objects, imitating actual materials. And that's only a small part of it. There's also a huge section about photo bashing and matte painting. So Fishman is apparently very awesome at using photo bashing, using actual photo elements to complement the concept design of his characters. It looks pretty impressive. Aside from that, you're getting a whole lot of tips and tricks about using layers, blending modes, and generally the way you should set up your workspace in the real world and in Photoshop. Right now, this huge 31-hour tutorial costs just $49, and when it will be fully released, it will jump up to its real price of $109. So if any of you guys are interested, the affiliate link is in the description. Now moving on with the video. So I have quite a few things here on my table. I guess let's start with this huge thing that you guys noticed in the previous drawing episode I had. So yeah, this is my resurrected Wacom Intuos 3 XL. Now I say resurrected only because its drawing surface, this thing, back then these surfaces were separate and you could replace them, but obviously in 2020 I couldn't find an actual replacement, so I went a bit creative with that. So I actually use a huge piece of plastic used to cover advertisement banners, huge things. So this is like a matte plastic like that. It was a nightmare to cut, by the way. So that's why in some places I have like little bits cut off, not exactly a perfect edge, but generally it works just fine. It's a bit noisy, but I think eventually it will wear off, as it usually happens with the plasticky surfaces like that. So I'm just in love with this drawing tablet. For a while, I was in some sort of a oblivion, I don't know, that I thought that I need a drawing display, even though it will be a smaller one, even though you can't sit straight in front of it, I needed that drawing display. Today, I'm completely free from that horrible marketing scheme, and I am back to my beloved Intuos 3A3. Now, the best part I haven't mentioned yet, this thing is modified, as you may notice already. I used one of the stands that came with a drawing display. I believe this one that you can see right here, I'm using it as just a display now. It's on its own leg now. And yeah, I had this cool stand that works really well, sitting with no use, so I finally found it. It was a bit creepy to actually drill, or not drill, but screw into the plasticky back of this tablet because it doesn't have actual holes for mounting it like that, which is the first pet peeve I'm gonna mention that I have about the drawing tablet market. Why is it so necessary to have a stand for a drawing display, but for a drawing tablet that doesn't have a display on it, it's totally okay to make you draw like this, like hit your elbow at the table and not being able to draw from the shoulder when it sits flat on the table? It's so dumb. Every single drawing tablet has to come with a stand, so you would be able to tilt it, especially at this size, and screenless tablets at this size, they come with no stand. they lay flat on your table. It's really stupid. So that's one thing, and that's why I'm loving this thing so much right now. It's just an amazing experience to have your drawing display at this angle, being able to draw any way you want, being able to draw any kind of straight lines or decent circles, I don't know. I'm not the best at circles, but they're decent, I think. One thing that's really awkward and pathetic and stupid about my setup at the moment, something I really need to improve in the nearest future, and I really want to do that, is of course replacing this stupid tiny 16-inch display. This is looking so stupid right now. I'm actually not even using the full drawing like work surface of this Intuos, so it actually starts over here and over here, so the upper left corner is here, and I'm using that as an advantage, so I would be able to just put a keyboard like this. It has this design with a natural hook like that, so it just perfectly sits on the tablet at the top. It's so comfortable. Not a single set of express keys and rings and touch thingies is never gonna replace actual buttons in an array like this. I have some alternative projects in terms of replacing a keyboard. One of them is this, but a video on this and on another thing that I haven't received yet is coming in the near future. I don't know when exactly, but so far I'm pretty happy with what I have here. I gotta say, after so many years of trying all kinds of drawing displays, literally having, I think, 2 years on this channel, this was just an iPad Pro drawing channel. I was using my iPad Pro 2017 12.9 inch, and it is an amazing device, but it is mobile. There's more to it. I think personally this is the only drawing display that actually makes sense to buy, to have it in your arsenal. Because anything else that is not strictly mobile and has a benefit of being so small and actually very snappy with using it anywhere at any moment, anything else will always lose to this. And the reason to that is that this is the most ergonomic setup you can imagine. With a tablet not having a display on it, you can sit straight like a normal human being at the height of a chair that lets you have your knees at 90 degrees angle, and you can sit straight and look forward at your monitor and draw at the bottom without having to raise your arm to draw on actual pixels. So this is the most comfortable thing. I think it's obvious for most people, but it feels like we all right now are in the middle of this craze about drawing touch displays that it's so hard to admit that there's nothing better than this. And many artists, myself included, many years ago, I was working on this and I wanted a drawing display. It's just, it feels like magic. You think this is the way to go about it. This is the way the technology should evolve. You should be drawing on the actual colors. Amazing, the future is here. Is it though? The problem with that is it's so bad for you as a human with a spine and a neck and everything that it's really not worth investing so much money into that. While with a screenless tablet, you can invest into the most awesome, biggest 4K, 8K, whatever display with high refresh rate and have it in front of you, and maybe in the future you will want to replace your drawing tablet. You will still have this awesome display. Or the other way around, if you want to replace your monitor, you will get to keep your amazing drawing tablet. It's so much of a better deal. There's literally not a single aspect of it that would be losing to having a big, expensive drawing display. Now, I think I said everything I wanted about this, so I'll stop from this moment. I will stop fighting a war I know I will lose. No one will listen to me about the fact that you guys really don't need drawing displays. You really don't. But let's move on. I wanted to talk about the other only option I think that makes sense in a form of a drawing display, which is an iPad Pro specifically, simply because this is a mobile solution. This is a thing that you can take with you somewhere and use it outside draw people in a cafe as a creep, something like that. You can use it anywhere and it's really cool. You will never get that kind of functionality with a display separate from a drawing tablet, obviously. So that's where this form factor is definitely better. I need to move this away somehow. I don't know how. This is just taking so much space. There you go, I think this will be good enough. So anyway, I wanted to talk about how to make your drawing actually decent with iPad Pro, or actually with any kind of drawing display. Obviously, you need a stand, because a default triangular cover solution like this is not gonna work well because, well, it's simply too low. Like, you would have to sit like this over it, which is really bad for looking at the display, like the worst possible angle, literally at the bottom somewhere. You know how you probably sometime in your lifetime you saw some kind of instructions shared on Facebook or whatever about how you should properly sit in front of a monitor in an office space. So the upper edge of your monitor should be at your eye level, like this, and everything else needs to be below and tilted a bit upwards so the center of the monitor would be looking at you. And you gotta sit straight with 90 degrees for your knees and 90 degrees for your elbows. So the height of everything needs to really fit you, the way it does for me right now. I actually had to buy a special higher than normal chair to make this work for myself. And obviously, a setup with a drawing display is never gonna meet that criteria. It's never gonna be over here. And even if you buy some kind of stand that will make this happen, I don't know how you would mount an iPad like that, but even if it would be here, raising your hand like this to draw on your eye level would be a nightmare. Your arm and your back would hurt so much. So what I have here is a couple of the solutions I have in terms of making it better. Oh, by the way, one more thing I'll just mention. Some artists, some people mention they actually like using their iPads flat on table, and probably the best defense for that approach would be that, you know, what if you're just a traditional artist and you work on some kind of artwork? You would just lay that piece of paper on table and draw like that. Well, I guess, but you don't want to use a paper, right? We want to use something more than that. We want to use something better than just paper. How about using something better than actually having to look down at your artwork as well? Because really, ask any professional artist that is like older than 40, 45 years old. They will tell you everything about how you shouldn't do that. And think of any footage that you've ever seen of any kind of mangaku? What do they call them? The professional artists that draw manga and anime that draw actually a lot. They always have these special tables that are tilted. Animators always have that stuff because those are the guys that actually work a lot. And they know how much of a difference that makes for your health and productivity. Productivity is something that you will notice immediately. So yeah, don't do that. I think that's not very good for you. So what I have in here, first of all, this is my old stand that I've been using on this channel for a while. It's a simple stand that just has several angles right here. So you can just tilt your iPad at any angle you want. And I have it modified as well a little bit, since anything I have for over a year gets inevitably modified. Couple of rubber pads in here to have a bit of a better, I don't know, grip. It had rubber pads already. I don't think it actually improved anything. But another thing I did in here, these light plasticky things, these are actual screws, so I had to drill into metal in here. This thing is full metal, so I drilled holes in here and placed screws with the plasticky things, whatever these are called, for mounting bookshelves. So yeah, this thing allows you to actually have your stand grasp at the edge of the table. So that's a really cool modification I did, I think. I was only happy to have that at all times. So it actually brings a lot more confidence at your setup generally when you can just press at the tablet, and it's not gonna shake or move on the table. This is a really cool thing to have. So yeah, I've never seen a single drawing stand that would actually have some kind of hooks like that to grasp for the edge of the table. I think this is something that needs to start going on. I was generally happy with this stand. It's kind of clingy, like the build of it is not perfect. Generally, this thing is really cheap for a full metal structure, that's for sure. And it's kind of bent a little bit. It's put together at a bit of a wrong angles. You can notice it if you look closely. So the stuff is a little bit like the left corner always presses a little bit and then jumps back. It's kind of weird. So anyway, this is just the cheapest solution and it works well enough for its money. But let's move on. And here I have these two boxes. They just came recently from AliExpress, and this was a bit of a weird purchase. I actually first saw this kind of stand, the bottom one, the white one, on Amazon, but Amazon doesn't work with Ukraine, so I had to purchase some kind of knockoff from AliExpress. That's the way I have to live my life. So anyway, let's start with the black one. It's a smaller size. On the page on AliExpress, it was described as just a smaller size of the white one, but it wasn't. So I actually got a pretty big refund for this and got to keep it, which is great, I guess. But actually, I would be much happier if this thing would be just a smaller version of the same thing as the bottom one, which I'll show you in a moment. Is a pretty cool thing. So yeah, this is a full metal thing with this scissor mechanism right here. It's very sturdy and nothing like shakes or makes noises, at least for now. And yeah, the best part of it is that having iPad being a super mobile tablet, this thing is also very mobile. Has its own bag, becomes very small. It's a full aluminum structure with all the contact places having these silicone pads everywhere. So they don't just provide a soft touch, but also probably some kind of silicone stickiness because they're very glossy. So that looks kind of promising. And yeah, this movement of opening these scissors is really cool. After that, it's not that cool. You have to like set up the angle for each side separately. But after you are done, you have a very sturdy, very nice, and kind of a stylish stand like this. Pretty much the same thing as my old stand, just a much nicer build and more of a mobile. So the problem with the stand, it gives you pretty much everything you would ever wanted. In terms of, it gives you any angle you want. There's a lot of holes in here and you can choose a lot of angles. They're generally good, but the first thing I think about when I just sit in front of it like this right now is that I need to do this. Just because I'm too high, I need to raise the table comparing to my head. It's just so low. I want to be closer to its level. So right now, my knees are like this, under the table, so I'm already sitting wrong. But generally, like, it's alright, I guess. It could be closer still, but you can work with it. Actually, these silicone pads, they really provide good grip. I don't need any kind of hooks on the table, that's for sure. Nothing sponsored, by the way. This is just my own purchases and whatever, experiments. So don't be afraid when I'm positive on anything. That's just truth. So yeah, this is generally fine. But honestly, I just know, like, I'm already stressing my back right now because I'm leaning forward still. I need to be closer to it, sort of. Like, it's still too low. I need it, like, here. And it just becomes super silly. I look like a very tiny person at a table. Some episodes on this channel are recorded like this, and you guys sometimes make fun of that. Anyway, I'm not really drawing anything. So yeah, let's go back. A pretty good solution if you just want a decent stand with just angles. But let's move on. This is actually why I made this AliExpress purchase. This stuff, first of all, obviously bigger. It's positioned as a laptop stand mostly, but of course they market it for iPads as well. So at first we have the same thing, right? Angles and everything. I'm gonna just go for the angle I know I like, which is literally the highest possible angle. So we have this is where the iPad goes, but after that, we also have the lifting angle. And this is just awesome! Now this bad boy goes over here. And look at that. I'll actually rotate it like this. There's one problem with the stand is that these hooks right here that are holding the tablet or a laptop, that's why they're really big, because they also need to hold like a laptop. And because of that, they would be stand in the way of your hand when you draw. One thing I found working pretty well, since you probably still have your iPad in a cover like this with this folding back or front, you just fold it completely like this into one strip and it provides extra thickness at the bottom. Also, my cover right here, it has this placement for the pen, since this is a 2017 iPad Pro that doesn't have a magnetic attachment for the Apple Pencil. So it provides extra border at the bottom, and due to the thickness as well, look at that, it's a much better deal. I don't know if you can see anything, but yeah, this is pretty good. Like, it doesn't stand in the way at all anymore. So there you go, this is literally the best possible way a drawing tablet, a drawing display can be positioned in front of you. It's just right here. You see all the details clearly. You don't need to lean in at all. It's not too high, so you would have to raise your hands too much. It's sturdy enough for you to actually rest your hand. Like right now, this hand, I'm actually sort of resting it on the screen. Same as this one, I can hold onto the stand, which is really good since you have to raise your arms a lot to draw on an actual display. So this is something I highly recommend if you are using a drawing display. Obviously, it's not gonna work really well for something big. I haven't really tried it with the Innovator 16 that I did a review recently, because this came after I gave that away to Nadia. She's actually using it every day and liking it a lot. I think this width and height of these sticks right here, it would be enough for something much wider as well. My future self will tell you guys if this works out or not with a 16-inch drawing display. I think it does. I think it works really well. It's stable enough. The hooks are really big, since Innovator 16 is as thin as iPad. I think I could easily fix those hooks with a saw and some sanding. In actual work, the stand is almost as stable as it is with an iPad. But yeah, I think anything bigger than 16-inch will not work on this thing. Like, obviously I couldn't mount my Intuos 3 onto this thing, it's way too big, it was just... Oh, I think I tried it, it literally couldn't just sit in place without me touching it, it was just falling over. And most importantly, this whole circus, like, let's be fair. Even though this is the most comfortable thing, I would probably think twice before unfolding this beauty in front of people. It feels like you're some kind of that guy when you do this. This is a bit too much. iPad is beautiful because you're supposed to bend over for it, and not the other way around. It needs to be this simple, slick display, and that's it. And when it comes to this, you're doing something wrong with your life. And I think that's the best way to describe it. If you want a drawing display, you're signing up for being uncomfortable or being a little bit silly. If you want to use your iPad Pro as a main drawing setup at home, the way I actually did for more than 2 years on this channel, then this would be just perfect. I really wish I would have this 2 years ago. That would be a much better experience. But right now, there's no way I'm using any of this. Like, occasionally, sure. When I'm away, definitely, iPad is awesome. I'll be grabbing this thing with me, no matter where I am, at parents' house, whatever. Just unfold this thing, it's actually awesome to work with. Really cool. But it's not gonna be that awesome, snappy, fresh experience where you can just, you know, use your iPad at a cafe or something and look like you're going camping on a table. It's kind of weird. I guess with the cafe, this would be your biggest thing that wouldn't be embarrassing to use. This is an actual very slick solution, so this is a thing to use in front of people. So yeah, I guess this is my video. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this whole drawing display craze. I don't think it's really good for people. I think at some point we'll have to grow out of being these marketing victims we are right now, that we all want to draw on displays. It's actually objectively worse than drawing on a screen-free tablet. So that's my opinion. Come at me, bro. Thank you guys for watching. We'll look forward to your comments and we'll see you in the next video. Bye! Oh man. Soon I'll be able to buy that huge Acer Concept D C3 display, I believe that's the name. Man, that stuff is expensive, but I really think it's worth it. I've been having this thought that, like, this is so weird that I'm a digital artist, and this is the display I have, this is the main display I work with. Such a small thing, and the surface is glossy, like, I only see my own reflection right now. This is so bad. And that Acer display, it's amazing. 27-inch, 4K, 144 Hz. Colors are factory calibrated. P3 gamut, like 90 whatever, like definitely enough for me. I just need it to be good colors with even lighting. 400 nits, it has everything. It's such an awesome display. But man, is it expensive. Yet I still want it. I think I have this idea of buying my last display, you know? The display that I'll be using for many years ahead. And it will be a non-compromise solution that will perfectly accomplish my non-compromise giant drawing table right here.